All right, so if you're watching this tutorial video, that means you're struggling a little bit with our drawer design challenge. So on the left-hand side, I have what I'm going to call the drawer, and on the right-hand side is the chest. So this drawer will fit perfectly in each of these spots here in the holes that I've cut, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So we want a nice, clean drawer that fits in each of those spaces. So to get started, if you look in the top right, you're going to see your little profile picture. Mine's a robot because I haven't changed it. Oop. Well, it's not working. So let's go back to Tinkercad. So I'm going to click on this to go back to the main screen. But if I click on my little guy right here, you're going to see a spot that says new, and this is going to pull up a new workplace for you. So you'll always want to start with a fresh work plane. And before we start, some really, really basic camera controls. If you hold down your right key on your mouse and spin that around, you can see that you can move your work plane, kind of visualize different things, which is awesome. On the top left, there's also this cube, does the same exact thing. So those are just ways to manipulate the camera, which are really important. But the very first thing we're going to put down in our work plane is our ruler. So on the top right here, we have the ruler. Just drag that out into your work plane, and it's going to put these marks right there. And we'll see what this does, but it's really important. So on the next step, you're going to grab this red box, drag it right out into the work plane. And now that we have the ruler on the board, you can see that we have all of the dimensions of our cube. So the width is 20, the length is 20, and the height is 20. Those dimensions are really important for this challenge because if we want our drawer to work properly and fit directly into each of the chest spots, we're going to want to be really careful with our measurements. So if you notice, you can click right on that number. You can put in any number you want, like 100, and it's going to automatically put the length of that object to 100. So that's a lot easier than trying to grab one of these white pieces or these white squares, which you can do and you can drag out, and I could get it to exactly 100. It's just a little more challenging, and it's a lot easier just to click on that number and put exactly what you want. So we're going to make the width 100, and we're going to make our height 30 as well. So now that we have all of our dimensions set for our chest, we're going to drag another box out here, and we're going to set these dimensions as well. So if we had the exact same dimensions as our chest, our drawer is not going to work properly. So if I set this to 100, you can see that it looks like it fits really nice in there. But once I punch out the hole, it's going to remove all that material. So we actually don't want our length to be the exact same as our chest. We want it just a little shy of 100. So we're going to put it at 96. And we're going to change our width to 15 so we can fit at least 5 drawers into our chest. The final piece, so we changed our length, we changed our width. Now we just have to change our height here. We're going to put that to 30, which is the same height as our chest, and we're going to see why here right now, actually. So if you have your piece highlighted, you can see that you have this little black arrow, and every time I move that arrow, it changes this number right here. So this number means how far this piece is off the work plane. So you can see how it's kind of floating there. So if I change this, we're going to put it at 5. Oh, that's 50. Oops. 5. It's going to be 5 millimeters off the work plane, which is exactly what we want because in the bottom of our drawer, we don't want to punch all the way through that drawer because then there won't be a back on there. So these are our measurements. So we want it 5 millimeters off the work plane, 30 millimeters tall, 96 millimeters wide or long, and 15 millimeters wide. So what we could do now is we could drag a box out. We could punch in those measurements, put those in exactly the way we had before, and create 5 more of these drawers. But there's a much easier way of doing that. So if you click your piece here, you can duplicate or copy and paste this piece. So to do that, there's a couple different ways to do it. In the top left, there's a button that says duplicate. So if I click that, you're going to see all the arrows on my screen disappear for 1 second. See that? That means that duplicated, or I can hit Control D and it will duplicate it as well. So I need a total of 6, and I'll tell you why at the end. So I'm going to hit Control D 3 more times, so I have a total of 6 different drawers in here. So our next step is we're going to put one of our drawers into the chest here. And we kind of want it in the middle. So if you look, mine isn't very centered. So I just kind of eyeballed that. For this challenge, I want to make sure that's exactly perfect. So the way I'm going to do that, you can see that this is kind of hanging up a little bit, which is perfect. Makes it really easy to select. But if I select that, hold shift, and I click the chest, I can go up to this little button, and it's called Align. And you're going to see all these black boxes pop, or black circles pop up. So all these align it to different parts of your chest. So if I click this middle one along the y-axis here, it's going to put my drawer right in the middle of the width of our chest here. So kind of play around with these, see what all these different buttons do. But ultimately what we want, it's going to undo all that plane I just did. Ultimately what we want is we just want this drawer right here in the middle of this chest. So I'm going to hit my align button again. And all I have to do is hit this black circle right there. And you can see that this popped up perfectly right where I wanted it. It's right in the middle. There's some space on either side of it. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to drag the rest. Oh, not the rest. We don't want to select all of them. We're just going to drag these one at a time. And we're going to place them kind of where we want them in our chest. Don't worry about alignment too much. Just make sure you kind of keep those gaps roughly the same size. And then we can just align all of them. So all I'm doing is left clicking here and dragging over, highlighting all these pieces. We're going to move this drawer out of the way to make it easier to select. And then we're going to that line tool and we're going to hit that same black button and it's going to pop all those exactly in the middle so I don't have to worry about eyeballing it. And now we have all of our drawers exactly where we want them. We have this extra one. We'll use that one in a later video. I'll make another video and show you how to make the drawer piece of this. But if you highlight all of these, again, I had left clicked on that piece. If you hold shift, you can grab multiple drawers. So I want all of our drawers selected and we're going to select this whole feature. So once I select that whole, you're going to see these kind of go transparent. Once those are transparent, that means instead of being a solid piece of material, the printer is going to leave a hole there, which is really important because we don't want our drawer or our chest to not have space for our drawers to fit in. If it looks like this, we're not quite done. There's one more step. Okay, this was in the tutorial, but a lot of you guys struggled with this part. So if you highlight all of this piece and go right kind of to the middle right here, you're going to see a button called Group. So once you group that and click off, you're going to see that Tinkercad actually puts all those holes in there. And now we have 5 perfectly evenly spaced holes and a drawer that fits exactly within them. So that's how you make the chest. In the second video, I'll really focus on how to make this drawer piece.